was the oldest and the only son in my family, and there was a lot riding on me succeeding. So I had to perform regardless, and nursing was the most safe and obvious path to just do really well right out the gate. But it was not a 1099 solution in any way. Yeah, my parents didn't know anything about money. We came from Romania when I was 9, and they just made really poor financial decisions. My dad would accept jobs that were far beneath his education level or far beneath his capability, and then just kind of stay there for too long, but just work a lot of overtime.
Hello and welcome to the Dream Start On podcast. I am your host, Edgar the Connector, and today we have Matei Chelbegean.
Good morning. My name is Matei.
Good morning, man. Thank you for being here. You literally saving lives out there. Where are you located at?
I'm in Fresno, California.
Fresno, California. I was in the area, Monterey, a couple weeks ago. So beautiful out there.
Yeah. Fresno's the part you drive through to get to the beautiful part in Monterey. But it's not too bad.
Cool. You are an entrepreneur as well. I know you have a full-time W-2.
So I started off as a registered nurse, and then I went and I got a master's degree in anesthesia. So now I'm a nurse anesthetist or nurse anesthesiologist, depending who you ask. And then I got into buying real estate, and I learned that I don't want to manage the real estate. So I started hiring people to manage the real estate. I got into different types of renting real estate, long-term rental, mid-term rental. Now I'm working on building out a rent by the room portfolio, and trying to not work in the business as much as work on the business.
So as a registered nurse and anesthesiologist, I'm pretty sure you're making great as a W-2. Why extend yourself into real estate?
The play was always to figure out a way to own assets or own a business that would eventually get me off the what's it called? The
grind,
the wheel, the endless, the mouse wheel. So,
the rat race. Gotcha.
Rat race, so to speak. Yeah. So I wanted to own assets or run my own business. However, it was always a kind of a challenge or a blessing that I could always pick up an extra shift and make more money. So why would I take the risk of making less money by starting my own business when I could just pick up an extra shift? So that was always kind of the issue. But then when I started doing anesthesia, I kind of got the perks of being a specialist by being able to work 1099, but basically making a wage, but also having 1099 perks. So being a solopreneur of sorts by being an independent contractor as a nurse anesthetist. So that was a kind of a natural foray into kind of being a business owner. And then the next thing was, well, how do I start to replace my income slowly, or at least build assets slowly that will eventually help me retire? So it's kind of a natural progression. I took the low risk path that is more linear growth, not so much chance for exponential growth, but I've been pretty happy with it.
Excellent. You're 1099 now as your job?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When did you make that shift?
Immediately.
Okay.
It was very important to me to be 1099 because I understood a lot of the tax implications of remaining W-2. When you earn, let's say, over 90K even, you lose a lot of money to taxes if you don't have anything to write off. And so if you're able to go 1099, a lot of different expenses that you can deduct open up to you. So I wanted to take that approach from the very beginning. And also for my personal development and professional development, I wanted to work independent practice, because in my field, you're able to legally work without anesthesiologist supervision. Though many nurse anesthetists or nurse anesthesiologists do choose to work with a team of anesthesiologists and nurse anesthetists, it's not a requirement. And there are pros and cons to it. And throughout my training, I saw many pros, but I also saw many cons. So I wanted to just be capable of handling things on my own. And I reached that point, which makes me really, really happy about the way my working career has progressed. And also, you do get paid more, though there is an increased liability, obviously. So you do have more responsibility. So it is commensurate.
So going straight to 1099 instead of being W-2, you've had that mentality since a long time ago. That was it in college that told you to go into 1099? Was it you just studying about being
Um,
a contractor instead of an employee?
I must have been 15.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. My parents didn't know anything about money. We came from Romania when I was 9. And they just made really poor financial decisions. Just my dad would accept jobs that were far beneath his education level or far beneath his capability, and then just kind of stay there for too long, but just work a lot of overtime. And or he would get two of those jobs, but he would never get like a great job that would do really well for us. And then I started learning about the tax code and how even if you were to have a great job, W-2 is just not the play if you want to keep the money that you make. So that became very important to me early on. I did become a nurse because we couldn't really afford the risk from my perspective for me to not succeed.
Wow.
Like I couldn't fail once. You know, the entrepreneur path is full of, it's rife with failure all the time. You fail 3, 4, 5 times, then you become an overnight success. So we didn't really have that luxury. I was the oldest and the only son in my family, and there was a lot riding on me succeeding. So I had to perform regardless, and nursing was the most safe and obvious path to just do really well right out the gate. But it was not a 1099 solution in any way. I kept looking, trying to figure out, can I run a business as a nurse in some way? But it just wasn't. It still seemed a bit too much high risk at the time for me to
Mhm.
explore things like mobile IV therapy clinics and stuff. Those kind of came 15 years later. So at the time, there wasn't really too much available. The closest I got to some kind of a 1099 independent contractor situation was travel nursing for a while. And that was kind of when I found the taste for some kind of tax-free stipends. I said, "Ooh, how do I do more of this?" And so I knew that anesthesia had the 1099 option, and I specifically pursued it for that reason as well as the actual anesthesia itself.
Okay. Man, you had a lot riding on your shoulders when you were young coming in. I'm first generation as well. My parents came, but they were pretty set and they never threw that kind of responsibility on my shoulders. But I have done well so far, and my mom's retired now because of an Airbnb that I was able to get to help with her finances to do that, man. So, dude, I understand a little bit of it, but I feel like you're you should be proud of yourself, man. I think you're doing fantastic from what I see and what I'm hearing, and you've come a long way, dude. Anesthesiologist isn't something easy that from the outside looking in, I don't think it's something easy. You got a lot of responsibility, a lot of risks, and a lot of people's lives in your hand.
Yeah, no, it can definitely be tough. Thank you. Um, yeah, I'm pretty proud of it, and I also really enjoy it. So that's always a plus. But yeah, we work at a. My wife does the same thing that I do, and we both work for the same group, and we work at a large level one trauma center, and so we see everything under the sun: gunshots, stabbings, rollovers, you name it, burns, and yeah, we get it taken care of. So it can get pretty wild, but in many ways, it's funny. One of my partners, he helps me buy and process deals in Ohio, and we're partnered on equity. And I don't know, he'll mention something like, "Oh, I know this is kind of an emergency," and I said, "Hey, man, nobody's gonna die in real estate. It's not an emergency. It'll be okay." So it kind of, my job puts things in perspective a little bit when things in business don't go as well. It's like, hey, no one's dying today. It'll be okay.
Yeah. Good insight, good aspect, point of
Hmm.
view. So your wife does this as well.
Hmm.
In the work-life balance, do y'all discuss? Y'all keep it separate, or do y'all go home and talk about like just
Um,
unique situations?
Probably too much. Um, we have to kind of set limits on not talking about work because work is so easy to talk about forever and
Hmm.
ever. But then you start to feel like colleagues rather than husband and wife. So at some point in the night, we make a decision like, okay, that's enough about work, or enough about work drama, or enough about the tea. Let's talk about us, or let's go out, or yeah. But it's very easy to get sucked into this nonstop talking about work, talking about cases. However, also when you've had a tough day, you can talk shop, and your spouse specifically understands how frustrated you are in that exact situation, which I think is pretty rare. So I
Yeah,
value it. Yeah, we
yeah,
have to find a balance though.
that's great, man. I'm happy
Mhm.
for you guys.
Thank you.
How long have you been married?
Newlyweds ish, 2 years.
Okay,
Mhm.
congrats.
Yeah.
Y'all met at work, school? How'd y'all meet?
We met in school. She was a year behind me in school, and we have class reps that are basically class presidents. It's the only office.
Hmm.
So there's two presidents or two admin people per class, and I was one of them for my class, and she was one of them for the incoming class. So I had noticed her kind of when she'd shadowed our class. I'd noticed her when it was her first day, and I helped present to her class to welcome her class. She was in the front row, and she caught my eye. I asked my co-rep a little later, "Hey, are we allowed to date the new people?" And she says, "Well, yeah, I don't see why not." Um, so then a week or two after that, she ended up getting elected as co-rep for her class with another person. So she started a group text with the four of us of like, "Hey, we should meet up and talk about what it's like to be a rep," or something like that. And my counterpart couldn't make it, and neither could her counterpart. And I insisted, "Well, I'm very much available. I would very much like to have this meeting. Yeah, please." And she says, "Oh, well, I have to study until late tonight." And I said, "Oh, well, I'll be available. I'm gonna, just finish my clinical hours, and I'll go to the gym, and then I can meet after that." So I just really made myself available, and we did actually talk about being a rep on this gathering. We went to Chipotle, which is my all-time favorite place. Neutral enough to not necessarily be a date, but we did. Yeah, we started to talk to each other about each other as well as the professional aspect of things. And at the end, I walked her back to her car, or at least back to the parking structure, because it was in Oakland, so you have to walk the girl back. And she told herself that if I texted her before she got home, then it was a date. If I didn't, then it was professional. And I think I texted her before she got to her car. Yeah, that was the beginning of it. Most people in our program break up or get divorced. They tell you before you join the program, make sure all your stuff is watertight. All your relationships are buttered up, as it were, because any strain that you had before will just get amplified. So don't go into it on the last leg of your marriage. It'll break it. There's just too many hours, too much mental strain, too much isolation, too much moving around. You lose most of your friendships. You lose some ties with your family. You just feel really isolated. So the fact that we were able to not only meet but stay together and then get married at the end is very much the opposite of what happens in this program. Not that it wasn't particularly challenging as well, but I'm pretty proud of it, and I think we're pretty happy about it.
Okay, a round of applause for you guys.
Thank
That's excellent, amazing story. So you you confirmed the date with the text being early before she got to her car. And, 2 years married, congratulations.
you. Mhm,
And man, I wish you guys many many years of that. And that's good that you have a good work relation, not work dynamic, but in the same field dynamic.
mhm. Yeah, I gotta
And
tell you one other thing. She was a little coy when I met her, and I asked her out to a sushi place for our first date, and turns out she was vegan at the time. But she didn't want to tell me until after I ordered, which was quite funny. And also, she couldn't have deep fried stuff, and I ordered for the table a couple deep
tempura,
fried.
tempura, tempura.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So she just said, "Oh, I'll just have a seaweed salad," and that's all she ate the whole time. And then I felt all bad about it. It was a train wreck, but I'm glad somehow she saw past that. So
Yeah, I mean, you took out all barriers, any excuse that she had, say, "I'll be there. I'll be
mhm,
there." And then
mhm,
similar with me and my wife, which we were going to school together, and then I
mhm,
invited her to her dance, and she gave me all these excuses. I was like, "Oh," I just gave her like answer to answer to answer.
mhm.
So
Edgar the closer. Yeah.
appreciate that.
Mhm.
Awesome, man. Great story. How is she? What is her thoughts on your real estate journey?
She is in support and slowly becoming more interested. At first, she's more of the conservative, what's the worst thing that could happen? Let's put all our money into the mattress kind of person. And but still she values that I'm not. And so she tries to balance the risk. And we've defined the roles that whenever I bring her a deal that I'm excited about, she says, okay, well, my job is to poke holes in it. What's the worst thing that can happen? And it's not that she knows the worst thing, but she makes me know the worst thing and to think that way. So initially, she didn't want to do anything with real estate. She didn't want to do anything with business. She said, hey, that's all you. Don't bother me. I'm working on my own stuff, my own mental health, whatever. I would like some space. Don't add more stuff. So the business stuff is all you. But as I got a little more into it, she started to get more curious and ask better questions. And she says, oh, what is an interest rate? Is that a good one? What is Subto? All these different things. So now, whenever I mention a deal, she starts asking all these pertinent questions. Um, and I kind of poke fun at her. Oh, look at you asking all the good questions. So she's gotten more excited about it. The the first deal I ever bought, I didn't have a team. I didn't know the renovation costs of anything, and I was getting all these crazy quotes, like $95,000 for a cosmetic renovation in SoCal, and I just told myself, you know what? I'm just gonna do it myself. I'm just gonna drive down there 4 hours. I'm gonna learn how to stretch carpet and drywall, and maybe I'll even lay down flooring instead of the carpet. And I was YouTubing all these things, and I rented some equipment from Home Depot, and I just sat there, really discouraged, and started to wash the carpet, see if I could save it. And thankfully, there was a Subto contractor named Josh in Subto, and he reached back to me, and his bid came at a much more reasonable price, and he did a really really great job. So that was the beginning of me realizing who not how is the best approach. And funny enough, before he started working, my wife came to see that initial house, and she started to cry. She said, why would you get us in such a crappy deal? This is horrible. I hate this. Now we're stuck with it. What are you going to do? What are we going to do? So I felt really, really horribly. But now it's one of our best performing investments. And she's really happy we bought it. So bit of a rough start. Um, and I had to justify kind of like, this is why it's worth it. This is the strategy. This is how it's going to benefit us. And over time, she's come around, and she's pretty happy about
A fantastic story. So
it.
that was your first dive into real estate, picking up a
Mhm.
property sub two. So I guess you're already in the sub two community.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about real estate until I joined Subto. Like zero things. I had avoided it like the plague because I thought it was really cumbersome and really slow. And throughout my 20s, I want independence, freedom, flexibility, liquidity. So I did a lot of day trading, or at least I would say I attempted a lot of day trading. But on my day off, usually I would either want to sleep in, and I'm West Coast, so I'd have to be up at 5 to day trade. Markets open, I think, at 6:30. So, or at 6. So either I'd have to wake up super early, or I would have a choice to work a day of overtime and not take that choice in order to day trade. So I didn't day trade nearly as much as I would have wanted to, because I had other options and incentives that were much better. But still, I was more interested in day trading or options trading or crypto. These very quick, very high risk, get rich scheme things. And only when I started making more money did I realize about the power of depreciation in real estate and how nothing really matches that. No other asset classes besides maybe buying, I don't know, heavy machinery or stuff like that. But then I can't really justify that in my industry. So,
Excellent.
mhm.
That yeah, that's amazing because when you're making all that money, the best way to make more money is to keep
Yep.
what you're already making, the taxes. And with real estate depreciation, you get all the tax benefits, tax savings from there if
Hmm.
you get it done correctly. We're not CPAs. Consult your CPA. This is information that we're picking up and learning as we go.
Definitely do get it done correctly. A CPA is the best person you can pay. Pay the nice man so he can help you keep your money.
To keep your silent partner away,
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Sam.
Hmm.
um, so you said the your first deal was 4 hours away.
3.5, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Riverside, California.
What made you choose that location?
Um, well, I really wanted to buy something by end of year. I joined in September, and so I quickly tried to get up to speed. And by October, I was all over the Discord servers at the time and all over the groups, just kind of trying to pick up anything that was in an area I'd grown up in or that I knew. So Riverside area, Inland Empire area is where I'd grown up, so I knew the market, and that was kind of a natural place I gravitated to. And I was also looking in Sacramento or like near San Francisco because I'd also lived there for school. So basically, just a town I'd heard of in California that I could kind of vet with some prior experience. I hadn't at the time developed the method of vetting stuff remotely. So yeah, I just kind of went with what was familiar. And I actually had a realtor who was kind of acting as a bird dog for me, try to find me some properties. And the moment he put an offer on this one property, it was a 3-2 condominium, and there was another sub two guy that had already locked it up. So I thought it was gone, and then like 2 months later, or 1 month later, it pops back up on the Discord servers, and one of my friends says, "Oh, have you seen this?" And I had actually just scrolled to it as well. So I was able to pick it up on the second go around. I guess they weren't able to sell it to somebody else. So I just picked the same property up through different channels. It's kind of funny how they sometimes they bounce back.
That's actually how I picked up my sub two property that I have running as a sober living now.
Hmm.
That was it was in the free group actually. The sub two free student picked it up, and they were trying to get too high of an assignment fee, and they
Mm-hmm.
started ghosting the seller.
Hmm.
So then the seller happened to be getting their foundation fixed, and that foundation repair person, their daughter was a real estate agent that
Mm-hmm.
worked with the real estate agent that I was teaching sub to.
Oh wow.
So then he goes, "Hey, somebody wants to do sub two." So they brought it to me. He's like, "Hey, I can't pay you this what they're doing. I'm not going to take an assignment fee." So
Hmm.
their entry fee went from like 50K down to less than 10K.
Oh wow,
So
nice.
yeah, thanks. And then it was either move in or make it sober living, but it was hard to pass up a $400,000 house for 10K entry fee. So I
Hmm.
was like, I'm gonna make this work.
Right, right.
Great. You still have your property in Riverside, your first one. How long
Hmm.
ago was that you picked it up?
Um, must have been November of 2023.
Okay.
Hmm.
So a couple months, about 6 months before Owners Club, and you were
Yeah,
right
that
into
was my
sub
first.
two.
Yeah, actually, I joined. So I just watched YouTube. I was kind of curious about real estate stuff. Started popping up, right? And so Jamil and Pace were on whatever channel talking about Jamil and Pace things. Very entertaining in the real estate space. They give you a lot of information. So I just started enjoying watching them. And I think at the time they were pitching Astroblaster, which is like a wholesaling extraordinaire kind of AI CRM thing. So I said, okay, I want to do whatever they're doing. This sounds cool. So I bought that thing. And then I logged in and I said, oh, I don't want to do all this outreach to all these people and do all this processing. It was basically wholesaling, right? Like
Yep.
streamlined wholesaling. And I realized I in no way, shape, or form want to be a wholesaler. Nothing against them. It's just it's a very high energy, high hours grind model, which can do really well, but I already have a job. So I was like, oh, why did I buy this? This is a terrible idea. And then the next thing I saw the two of them on or Pace on was the Gator method. So then I bought that. And again, I got through it like halfway through it. I said, oh, this is kind of like, yeah, some version of lending or partnering with people. Um, but I got halfway or 2/3 through that training and I heard more about Sub 2. And I said, why am I not in the main thing? Why am I in the side thing? So then I joined Sub 2 immediately after. So it's kind of a roundabout way to join Sub 2.
Yeah.
But I was glad that I did. And then I felt like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is the one that actually fits what I'm going for the most. I've done some lending since, so the Gator method has been helpful. But yeah, Sub 2 was the place for me.
Yeah. Sub two is fantastic. That community they would put together is
Hmm.
like nothing else. What are you doing with that property now? You said this is one of your better performing ones or best performing one?
Yeah, so right now it's a midterm rental.
Okay.
So insurance, corporate housing, or insurance housing, corporate housing, whoever needs to stay there longer than 30 days housing. And so I found a really great manager and a really great designer, and they got it done. Yeah, and I was glad that I over renovated it when I first bought it without knowing,
Mhm.
because now it's nice enough to double as a midterm rental without really having done much of any actual upgrades to the house.
So one thing you mentioned was the who, not the how, which is huge. I
Hmm.
keep on pushing that as well to people that are learning. Don't You gotta learn a little bit about it, but find that who that's doing it, that's scaling. Who did you find for your midterm rental management? Because I assume you have people running it for you, basically, right?
Yeah, yeah. Funny enough, I was interviewing Josh Smith for my YouTube channel that interviews private money lenders about what they look for in a borrower. And I was interviewing him, and after the interview, I asked him, "Do you know you do property management out in Tennessee? Do you know any property managers out in California?" So he connected me to a guy that is doing really, really well, but at this point, he's only doing arbitrage. So that guy told me about some woman who does management. Okay, well, I called her and she says, I only do design now. I don't do management anymore. So that's how I found my designer. And then after she designed it, she says, well, I've got a couple managers that I know that I could connect you with. So it was like a daisy chain of 3 people later that I found the manager I currently have. But I love her. She's the best. My designer as well. They're both fantastic. And the more I learned about midterm rentals before I found this manager, again, it's kind of like wholesaling in that you have to wholesale relationships with all the insurance companies and
Mhm.
different appraisers and whoever it is, all their point people. And even for corporate, like all the big companies in the area, you want their housing unit to know who you are, to be top of mind, and all this stuff. So you really have to like grind, and I respect it, and I want to pay for it. I don't want to also do that while I'm also doing my job.
Right. Do you have an idea of who your most common renter is?
Right now, it's actually families that something happened to their house. Yeah, mostly flooding. Like somebody will go on vacation. Let's say they had a pipe fixed, and then they went on vacation, and the pipe leaked, and they came back, and the whole thing was just wrecked. So then it takes 3 to 6 months maybe to redo everything, almost from the studs, maybe longer. So that's been one, and the other one has been similar. Something happened to their house, and they needed it fixed. That's been the most common so far.
Okay. Yeah, shout
Mhm.
out to your MTR manager because I know it's not easy. I have an Airbnb. I try to do a little bit of MTR.
Mhm.
We actually had a nurse come and stay at it, and they rented the house by themselves. It's a nice sized house, 3 2, 2,700 square feet.
Mhm.
And she put just one guest. So we reached out, said, "Hey, is it just one? We want to make sure we have enough." It's like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
I just went to a house to myself." It's like, "I'm a nurse down the street." It's like, "Okay." And then she came back again a couple of times, and then she was trying to get a lower rate. But I asked her, I was like, don't you have a corporation that helps you find housing? How can I rent the rooms out to the nurses?" She's like, "No, I don't like doing it that way." I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay." So I was like, "Do you know anybody at the hospital that can refer me to somebody?" And then she said she asked, but she's like, "Nah, I don't have anybody to refer you to." I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay, I don't have time to go and try to reach out to the hospital to find this like housing unit." You're the first person that mentioned that for a corporation. That's a
Yeah.
pro tip there. If you're MTR, look for the housing unit manager, I guess, person responsible for that.
Yeah. So at the hospital, there's probably a port person who helps set up whenever they bring in like a CEO or an executive branch member or whoever, not executive branch, but an executive team member to help settle them with housing. And let's say they want to bring someone to improve the company for 6 months, and well, what that person's going to want to bring their family. And if they have one, they're going to want to bring their family, and they don't want to stay in a hotel. They want to stay in a house, and they don't want a house with pink flamingos. They just want a normal house. So you don't need, pickleball courts and 3 jacuzzis. You just want a nice, decent house to put these people in. So the hospital will usually arrange something like that. But as far as the most common things like travel nurses, they're usually independent agents, and so they don't the hospital doesn't want to be responsible for them in any way, shape, or form. And
Um,
so usually the companies that they come as agents from, they usually work with like a headhunter company, let's say, and the company has a contract with the hospital. So it's the headhunter company that will find lodging for you if you're the RN or whoever, whatever profession you are. You're an agent with this headhunter company, but the headhunter company gets a fee for every hour you work on your contract, and they also get a fee. They'll overcharge you on hotels. They'll overcharge you on everything. So
mhm.
it's kind of like having your own property manager for yourself. They'll just upcharge whatever instead of giving you you get a stipend for your rent basically. That's tax free, and you can use that from your contract for whatever you want, preferably for lodging, and no one asks you any questions. But if you choose to not take the stipend and go through them, then they'll use all of it, or they'll use most of it, and it may still be in a place you wouldn't have preferred or you don't like. So most nurses that I know prefer to take the stipend and then find as cheap of lodging as possible in an area that they prefer to retain control.
It's very similar to us when I was a contractor working for the refineries. We'd go build a plant. So they would give us our per diem, and then we
Mm-hmm.
would find our place, either if it's less or
Mm-hmm.
more. roommate with people to save some money. So yeah, definitely
Mhm.
understand that portion of it. Does your MTR person do outside of California?
She does not, but she's not sub two at this time. I'm working on it, but she is connected in like the Jesse Vasquez MTR community,
Yeah.
and they similarly, I don't know to what extent, but they also have a network of people that they keep in touch with. So I'm sure she probably knows somebody. Are you looking for somebody in Texas?
Yeah, I'm curious. That Airbnb that I have right now, it's doing well as it's Airbnb, but Airbnb does have a lot more
Hmm.
turnover. It takes a lot more
Yeah.
time, a lot more management. MTR would be less, and then we'd have less complaints from the neighbors because we do get a rowdy person here and there, and the
Hmm.
neighbor wants to complain. So that's the biggest headache. MTR would be less likely to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I may have somebody. Do you know Alexis Jimenez?
I knew the name, but I haven't had a good conversation with them yet.
Yeah, I can. He mentioned he has an MTR person in Texas,
Okay.
so yeah, I'll get you in contact with him. But yeah, I don't know much more than that. I will say though, an MTR manager is worth their weight in gold. Like they
Heck yeah.
are amazing. And the model that I've seen is they are very collaborative. They're very happy to place anyone in any home of their friend, and they all share fees. I
Heck
respect
yeah.
that.
Collaboration over
Hmm.
competition. Best
Hmm.
way to do it. Cool. You have your podcast going as well for
Yeah,
lenders.
yeah. There's only 3 or 4 episodes on right now. I was really gung ho for a little bit, and then work got really crazy with trauma season, so I kind of fell off, and I want to get back on it. But as you know, consistency is difficult unless you put it on the schedule and make it part of the job. I have not done that yet, but it is on the books for this year.
Okay. What's the name of your podcast, or can we find it at?
House Money with Matei.
House Money with Matei.
Hmm. It's on YouTube. It's the only place.
Okay.
And the premise is I didn't see any material on the internet for how to be a good borrower or how to talk to private money lenders from the perspective of a borrower. I did see some material on how to be a private money lender, more or less, and even that is pretty sparse. But uh, I got added to a couple lists of private money lenders, and then those lists got blasted out to the public. And so everyone on that list that I've talked to, is frustrated by the caliber of borrower that reaches out to them and says, "Oh, hey, I have a house. Give me 100K, please." And, okay, who are you? What have you done this before? How do I know you'll give it back? What's the security? Oh, they say, what's security? Well, okay, if we can't talk about the basics of what a good loan would be, now I have to take the time to teach you, which already tells me it's going to be a high risk loan if you don't know what we're talking about. So the idea is to just help borrowers at least have some basics. So I usually ask my guests like, what's your worst borrower? What's your best borrower? What do you wish borrowers knew? Stuff like that.
Dude, I love it. So we got to
Hmm.
get yourself some more episodes. Y'all give House Money with Matei a like and a follow on YouTube. Give us a like here. It's free. Subscribe to the channel. Doesn't cost you anything. Drop a comment and let's learn more about more entrepreneurs like Matei and people that are still keeping their W-2 and rocking and rolling. Not everybody saves lives, but this guy here is. So you got a real life superhero here, man. I mean, he doesn't wear a cape. He wears what are your jackets?
Scrubs,
Yeah,
scrubs.
nurse scrubs. Yeah, that's right. I'm thinking the white coats.
Cool.
um, that's the first property. You've shifted a couple of times. So you went with that one. You did your first, basically, kind of like almost a fix and flip, but you kept it. So a buy and hold fix. What other properties did you pick up after that?
I quickly picked up several more sub twos in California. Yeah, the premise in California is that they're all appreciation plays. So they'll go up over time, not that they'll cash flow immediately. And so a lot of the dogma in sub two and in the investor world, oh, it has to meet the 1% rule, or it has to cash flow at least $200 after management fees and after war chest and after this and after that. Well, that really narrows it down to you can only buy in Ohio or Alabama or something.
Right.
From a purely numbers play, if you only want cash flow, that really limits where you can buy, because most of the country at this point, with the housing prices having gone up, it doesn't meet those numbers at all.
Right.
So from my perspective, because depreciation is also important, much more important than cash flow, and appreciation is also much more important than cash flow. I really don't mind negatively cash flowing $300, $400 on a property if I know that in 3 or 4 years the rent will go up anyways, and if I know that I can get depreciation much more than that in the first year, and then every year following that. So it was much easier for me with my situation to pick up not cash flowing properties, because I can make money different ways. Whereas somebody that doesn't need the depreciation at all anymore, it doesn't make sense to just pay money to own something every month. Yeah. So I've picked up 5, 6. I think I'm on my 6th right now. 7th. I'm in escrow right now for my 7th Subto in California, and it'll be my 3rd MTR down near San Diego, and I'm pretty happy about it. It's a great house, and then I did kind of run out of the need for depreciation, and now I'm also wanting to actually cash flow positively. So that's why I went to the MTRs. That was the first layer of how do I cash flow. The second layer of how do I cash flow is buying properties out in Ohio for workplace housing or rent by the room, co-living, affordable housing. We wanted to do Section 8, but I'm splitting all the cash flow with a partner. He's my operator out there. He finds the deals, vets the deals, manages the contractors. And so if you're going to have $200, $300 of cash flow per month, and you split that with a partner, that would just take a long time to develop a substantial amount of cash flow. So we shifted to more of the co-living model for that reason, and also because it's a greater need, I feel. So
Yeah,
those,
definitely. Co-living's a big need. My
mhm.
focus is on co-living. 7 properties in less than 2 years, man. That's amazing. Great job on that.
It's been
Congratulations.
wild.
Pat on your
Yeah.
back.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. W-2. I mean, you're working. How many hours do you usually work a week?
Too many. I'm trying to cut back, but the thing with being 1099 is you hold the contract, and the person who gave you the contract doesn't care about your life. So if you said, hey, I can, with my group, we can work 25 operating rooms per day for the length of the contract, and let's say people quit or whatever happens, you still have to honor the contract, or they'll give the contract to someone else.
Oh, wow.
So if you hold the line, you get the job done, right? Like someone hires you as a contractor to do the job, not to clock in and out. So that's basically why I ended up working a lot more hours this year. We had some people who had some life changes, and we had to pick up the slack basically. And I ended up working something like 300 hours a month for 6 or 7 months. So it was
Wow.
grueling, and yeah, but I didn't do it for free. So I was able to pick up some properties, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, it's tough though. It was tough.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it. I used to work when I worked at plants. Well, what was a job I worked pretty far, so worked 13 hours, 12-hour shifts, but basically 3 hours on the road driving. Luckily, it was 3 of us driving, so we could kind of shift and
Mhm.
take a little bit of nap here in the morning and the afternoon. So yeah, definitely. Well, I would work 19 days straight, 2 days off. So yeah, I
Mhm.
completely understand, and
Mhm.
it's it's wearing.
Yeah.
You mentioned like you running out of depreciation. So again, we're not CPAs. So that means when you're talking about depreciation and the benefits of it is based on how much income tax you have generated to be able to basically get that back with the property on depreciation, right?
Yes. Yeah, you can't depreciate against something that you are not making.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
so for those of you that think depreciation is a big win, it's only if you have income tax to put it against the depreciation.
Hmm.
Verify with the CPA.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little more nuanced than that. Real estate professional status comes into play. Um, so definitely talk with your CPA about how to qualify for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're in California and Ohio now. Any
Hmm.
other places you're extending to?
We are going to pick up a property in Louisville, Kentucky, and we're exploring Ann Arbor, Detroit area as well. So, kind of that area, the whole Midwest region. Kentucky's a little random. It's just my operator. His mom has a house out there that we're going to pick up because I don't know, something happened with it, and it fits our buy box really well, but not so much what she's looking for. So she's going to give us a really good deal on it. So the rents in Louisville are really good compared to the cost of the houses. We may expand there, we may not, but it's worth the one, anyways. And then, yeah, Toledo, Ohio area, and then north into Michigan towards Detroit. That's kind of a nice pocket. So we're
Sweet.
exploring out there. The other thing we're trying to solve for is the management. So I hired a developer to kind of integrate AI into the existing management software, and I think we're about a month. It keeps shifting, and I have no way to know exactly where we are because I can't read code. But I'm told that we're close. So just to be on the safe side, I'll say we're a couple weeks away. But basically, we want an AI that can put out ads on Zillow and Craigslist and Facebook, and then respond to those ads, process and vet the leads, and then with our approval, onboard the leads, and then manage maintenance calls for the most part, similarly to how a property manager would. Um, within a certain dollar limit, they can just approve it and reach out to the handyman directly, and above a certain dollar limit, they contact you. But it takes 80 or 90% of the management out of it, specifically the unreliable human element. Because when you have a great manager, it's fantastic. But many times you have a really poor manager who doesn't communicate well, or they don't charge the rent, or they don't send you the rent, or something weird happens. And I still pay them every month. I don't know why I'm not getting paid every month. So with co-living, specifically in the Ohio area, we found that management is really, really poor, even for long-term rentals. And sorry, no offense to any good ones out there, but we've only had negative experiences so far with the people I've talked to. And also, no one really wants to manage co-living when they could just manage something else. It's more work for them. So that's been tough, and hopefully the solution we're coming up with will work out.
There's a lot to digest there. So some of the who's that I think you might be able to work with. I don't know if you're talking to Will Castillo. I just had him on my podcast. He's doing a lot of property AI, and they may be able to help out with that.
Hmm.
Um, Austin Whitehead, he's in the Baltimore area.
Oh yeah,
He's
Austin's great. Yeah.
property management guru. So if you wanted to look at it to see about details of property management, what he would want on it from his experience, he sounds like he's a good property manager compared to the ones that I had in the Houston area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a good conversation with him in Monterey, and that guy is managing so many properties. I was stunned.
Yeah. I told
Yeah.
him, hey, you got to get your workshop going. He's like, you think I can do it? Hell yeah. So we gave him a challenge by November. So I'm going to tell him that you said so as well.
Absolutely. I'll text him. Yeah.
Yeah. For co-living, like an operator for that area, David Ross, he's actually creating a course
Mm-hmm.
for co-living operators to be able to manage the house on their community style co-living that he's doing. So shout out to him too.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to talk to him.
I'll connect you if you haven't met him yet.
Okay.
What is your Mount Everest?
My Mount Everest is not as real estate related. I would like the real estate to basically replace my income and my wife's income, because we want to focus more on doing international aid type of surgical trips. So ideally, I would want to own and run a nonprofit that either directly does the trips or collaborates with people that do the trips to, do quarterly, like 2 or 3 week, high volume surgical trips to developing nations. Kind of like Doctors Without Borders, but Doctors Without Borders kind of does a lot on the primary care vaccine front in developing nations, and they also do a lot of war zone support type stuff, or really political instability places. I want to do more of the surgical stuff in remote areas, not necessarily politically unstable areas.
Okay, that's such a noble cause. Joshua's son as well, he's doing a lot of things for other countries, like providing bedding and stuff for kids and orphanages.
Oh, very cool.
He was supposed to be on a podcast, and then he ended up having to adjust because his schedule changed because of that. And I was like, wow, that's amazing what you're doing. So that may be another who to help you
that's very
get
cool.
You connected with those organizations.
Okay. Yeah, I'd seen some of the stuff he was doing with his helping people out of foreclosure fund or something like that. And I was curious, but I haven't had a chance to talk to him.
Yeah, besides what he's doing with real estate, like other level he's doing, helping out orphanages from other countries. It's like, wow, it's amazing what you're doing out there. What can people help you out with in your real estate journey?
If you have access to properties in the Toledo area, send them my way. And specifically, like a 4 to 20 unit multifam, or a larger house, like a 3-2 and up. Preferably not, needing rehab down to the studs. And California, large cities. If you have a 3-2, preferably not an HOA, but we can work with it. And always looking to work with private money lenders. I'm a private money lender myself, and so if I can lend with you to something that you may not have enough funds for, or if you want to lend to some of my deals, capital is always welcome.
Capital is always needed. Where can they find you at? Where's your buy box?
Matei.Chelbegean@gmail.com is my email. My YouTube is, again, Matei.Chelbegean, and Instagram, same. I got to get a website going. That would buy box there. But
yeah,
so far, not so much.
G Drive, Google Drive makes it too easy to share it for your buy box. But yeah, I have mine as well. So yeah, reach out to him if you got money to spend or to invest and get returns back. Matei can help you out. He's going to be good with it. He's running his 1099 with his group of anesthesiologists, and he's very responsible with that. He's picked up 7 properties in the last 2 years, going the MTR route, going into co-living, Ohio, Toledo. Check out his buy box, send them properties as well if you want to be able to bird dog for him and send him deals. And he's a good person. He connected me with Josh Smith. Shout out to him. That helped fund one of our deals. And he's a rock star, real life superhero, saving lives without the cape. Just with the scrubs, man. And so well spoken, so well to good person. I've spoken to him multiple times at different retreats, and he's I appreciate being acquainted with him.
Yeah, always good to talk to you, Edgar. Also, fantastic guy. And let's do some deals together, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll get some funding so I can fund to your deals. And I'm not searching in Ohio right now, but maybe in Houston, y'all join me on a co-living deal.
All right, let me know.
Cool, man. Appreciate you. Till next time, make sure y'all watch one of these videos and check out Mateo's. Let me point the right way. check out Mateo's YouTube, House Money. Let's go. Give him some likes there. Give him some subscribes and tell him that he needs more episodes.
Fair enough. Thanks, Edgar.
Cool. Appreciate you. Catch this next podcast where you can start your dreams and start to own your time the way these other guests have.